Then my next question, Bill, is like, so when teenagers or parents will have this self-doubt as well, like critical voice. I'm a bad parent. I'm a failure. I can't even help my teenagers, who is hurting themselves or who is trashing the community or who is smoking weed. I can't even help them. I am a terrible parent. I'm rubbish. I'm stupid. I can't do these things. So parents will have these voices too, as well as the teenagers. I suppose I'm wondering how how can teenagers navigate this when the critical voice came forward, like so loud in your head?
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think? What sort of strategy you used before?
The sort of strategies I used before is I've definitely successfully got rid of a lot of them, most of them. I don't think I'm a very insecure person. But I definitely used to be. So I would sort of handle that by I think once I came to realize that what people say isn't actually what, like, I just stopped taking things personally. And with that, I sort of stopped being so harsh on myself. And I got the confidence and the tools to deal with these insecurities. But I don't know, because it is such like a lifelong issue, like it's so ingrained into us.
I wonder if, because as you mature and as you get to know yourself a bit more, as you feel more confident, you have more capacity to be able, like what you say, is filtering what people are saying to you. So somebody could make a comment to you and you could be like, ooh, okay, I feel like that. But you can pause and think, but that is not true. This is how I am. This is who I am. So then deflect whatever that comments. So then it's just because you're feeling more secure and you know who you are and what kind of person you are. So then you, like you say, you don't take it personally, just like, yeah, rubbish, moving on. I wonder if that is so of things that actually that helped you to navigate this. And like you said,
Yeah.
this is difficult. It's really, really hard when you're thinking I'm rubbish, I'm pathetic, and then if some other people, not directly and
No, not directly.
not or intentionally to say things to you, and then you come from like actually they're implying I'm stupid, and it's really vital in terms of how things were communicated and how that landed with the young person. If you feel like your young person struggle with self-esteem and always have that critical voice in their heads, you would probably want to check in with the teenagers. Hang on a second, you know what? I just say this, but how do you receive that? How does that land with you? And then
Yeah.
I can open a communication as to, oh, that's not what I meant, this is da 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 da.
Yeah.
So then you can help
Yeah.
that with the critical voices from my perspective. But at the same time, I'm thinking some of the helpful strategies, genetic strategies I think for parents too. So you'll be really helpful. So maybe if parents you're struggling with that critical voice in your head as well as teenagers, in addition to what I just say to the strategy for teenagers, I think what is really helpful is to think about your own strengths. When you're thinking, I'm rubbish, I'm this, you want to quickly think about, hang on a minute, hang on a second here, what are my strengths? You know, and what will people say my strengths are? Because you want to look at the positive, and nobody is ever rubbish. I could be rubbish at playing the cello, but I practice and I could be good. And I could be a professional player. No, it's not going to happen. But just give an example. But I suppose it's coming from my perspective. So look at your strengths. So when you have those moments in doubts, you can always go back to your strengths list to say, hey, no, that's not, because the mind does play a trick on us, right? And
It does.
you start to think, oh, that is true. I'm feeling terrible. But when you can visually see your strength list, you're just like, yeah, you know what? I'm really good at this. Yeah, rubbish. So that
Yeah.
could be a really good way to silence the critical voice. And the other way to think about it is to try to find the evidence. If you're thinking, I am pathetic, find the evidence to suggest that you're pathetic and find the evidence to suggest you're not pathetic. And you'll find very often people will struggle to find the evidence to suggest they're pathetic or they're stupid. you know, because that's what the feelings are thinking, like, I'm doing this, and then they just can't get out. So I think that would be good.
And even then, like if they do find evidence,
Mhm.
it can be something small that they've worked up in
Yeah,
their heads to mean something bigger when it's really just normal behavior.
absolutely. You know, and these critical voice can be silenced and can be smaller voice. You can make the decision not to let these voices dominate how you are, how you feel, who you think you can, who you think you are, what you can do, what you cannot do. And that's a choice parents can make, and that's a
Mhm.
choice. Teenagers probably struggle with that, so they often need help. And as like, you know, as like I said earlier, as you mature, you find it easier. But this is
Mhm.
definitely a lifelong lesson for everybody. I still, like, you know, I work with parents like 50, 60 years old. They will have this kind of self-doubt, and they're very successful. They're still
Mhm.
doubting themselves. Am I doing the right thing for my kids? Am I a terrible dad? Am I a terrible mother? You know, so this is hopefully these strategies will be helpful, just to think about finding the evidence,